Hello everyone, I hope you're all keeping well and have had a good summer break, and croeso welcome to module EDN203 Additional Learning Needs Anghenion Dysgu Uwchwanegol. Within this brief video, just aiming to outline to you the content of the module learning aims and outcomes, and just to give you a bit of an introduction to the assessment for the module as well. So in terms of this module, then the module will consider how additional learning needs and special educational needs are defined within legislation, within statutory regulations and guidance. Current ALN and SEN policy and practice will be explored, and we will consider in particular the implications of the divergence in practice between Wales and the rest of the UK. The module will also give you the opportunity to study the prevalence, etiology and management of a range of ALN-SEN, and we will consider a range of different contentious issues in relation to this topic too. So thinking a little bit about the module aims, the module has 4 aims. First of all, to understand how the terms ALN and SEN are defined. Secondly, to demonstrate relevant knowledge of ALN-SEN legislation and policy and how this impacts upon practice. Thirdly, to examine and discuss the prevalence, etiology and management of a range of additional learning needs. So how common are a range of different needs, what might be the causes or backgrounds of these needs, and how as practitioners do we support and teach learners who may be experiencing some of the challenges noted in relation to these ALNs, in addition to thinking about some of those positive areas as well. And finally, to identify and critically reflect upon contentious issues relating to ALN, SEN, for example, in terms of inclusive education, should we still have special schools and units, as an example. In terms of learning outcomes then, as we go through the module and in particular through completing the assignments, there are 5 learning outcomes that you will evidence. So the first will be to demonstrate the appropriate knowledge of understanding of how ALN and SEN are defined. Secondly, to evaluate the impact of legislation relating to ALN-SEN. So over the last 4 or 5 years or so in Wales, for example, we've had a change in legislation. We've introduced the Additional Learning Needs and Educational Tribunal Act, which led to the ALN Code for Wales, for example. So thinking about what impact that legislation might have had upon policy and practice. That leads in then to the third learning outcome, to reflect upon ALN-SEN policy. The fourth learning outcome will be related to knowledge and understanding of a number of specific additional learning needs and the implications for individuals with those. So we will look across all the 4 broad areas of need, but in particular we will pick up on perhaps some of the most common areas of ALN that we might experience in the everyday mainstream classroom, including dyslexia as an example of a specific learning difference, autistic spectrum disorder, for example, related to communication and interaction areas of need. And we'll think a little bit about supporting learners who might display social, emotional and behavioural challenges as well, for example. And then final learning outcome, to critically reflect upon a range of contentious issues relating to ALN-SEN. As we mentioned on the previous slide, for example, where do we teach learners with ALN-SEN? How do we go about supporting learners? Are there benefits to having labels, for example? And one key strand which will underpin the whole module will be thinking about inclusion. What does that mean in practice generally? And what does that mean in practice in relation to learners with ALN-SEN? In terms of our lectures then, we will have our lectures every Thursday, and these have been timetabled to take place between 10 AM and midday, and we will be in room 38 in the Talbot building. Our first lecture will take place on Thursday the 2nd of October, and our final lecture will be on Thursday the 11th of December. Similar to your experiences in level 4, all these sessions will be recorded and the recordings will be uploaded to Canvas each week. In most cases, there is nothing that you would be expected to do prior to the weekly lecture. However, all Canvas materials will be published at the very latest on the Monday morning each week, so that you get an opportunity to take a look at these if you wish to do so before attending the lecture on the Thursday. We will also then have seminars that support the module, and these seminars will take place every fortnight. The group has been split into 2 groups, Seminar Group 1, and the seminars for this group will be between 9 and 10 a.m. on the Fridays noted at the bottom of the slide, and will be in room 152 in the Keir Hardy building. While Seminar Group 2, the sessions will take place again on the same Fridays between 10 and 11 a.m. and in room 121 in the Richard Price building. In terms of the module assignment, there are 2 pieces of coursework for the module. Coursework 1 is a 2,000 word personal reflection and is worth 50% of your overall mark. Coursework 2 is a 2,000 word kind of standard academic essay and is worth 50% of your overall mark for this module. In terms of coursework part 1, then you will be asked to reflect upon the statement below. Education should include everyone, with non-disabled and disabled people, including those with additional learning needs, learning together in mainstream schools, colleges and universities. Within this particular piece of coursework, you will be asked to reflect upon your own experiences in school. If you have any work experience, for example, that has influenced your thoughts and feelings on this. And also you can make links to some of the discussions that we'll have at the earlier part of the module in particular, as well as supporting your thoughts with links to literature. And the second piece of coursework then, again, 2,000 words, and you will choose one of the following 4 options below. So your first option is to use theory and research evidence to argue the advantages and disadvantages of labelling learner with ALN. Secondly, to critically discuss how the new ALN Act, so the new legislation in Wales, has been impacting upon children and young people with ALN in Wales. So still early days in terms of it being embedded, but has it had a positive or negative impact? The third one, to consider how the environment might affect children living with ASD. And if you choose this one, you will be asked to discuss what we mean by ASD, autistic spectrum disorder, think about some of the kind of key characteristics and challenges as well as strengths related to the area of need, and think about how the school and policy environment can impact upon the child or young person's experiences. And the fourth option is to critically discuss the term inclusion in the current education system. Now, inclusion, as we'll see as we go through, most of us would probably have an idea what we mean by inclusion. However, one of the challenges we face in education is that there is no one standard definition that is agreed upon across all settings. So that's a brief introduction to the module. Very much look forward to meeting you for our first session on Thursday, the 2nd of October. If you do have any questions before the module starts, then please feel free to get in touch. My email address is noted on the Canvas page. Otherwise, look forward, as I say, to seeing you on Thursday the 2nd of October and working with you throughout this module.